What is the most disrespectful thing that someone has done in your home? My wife's cousin was staying at our house because he is going through marital problems. One night I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard some change rattling. He walks down the hall with my 5-year-old's piggy bank. He was taking money from my daughter's freaking piggy bank to buy beer and smokes. And that's when you understood where the marital problems came from. Back in college, my roommates and I hosted a birthday party for a mutual friend at our apartment. Earlier that day we gifted her a pet goldfish because she had been talking about getting a fish. Fast forward to later in the night, our male friend, let's call him Mike, decided he needed to find a way to impress our other friend, who I'll call Dollar. Mike tries every lame joke and pick up line on Dollar and fails time and time again. Then he sees the goldfish in his tank and scoops him up in his hand. He says, "Check this out, Dollar." He then plops the fish into his mouth and swallows it alive. My roommate and I immediately rush over and start trying to make Mike puke the fish back up. Dollar quickly makes for the door and leaves the party. Sadly, that fish met its doom in Mike's stomach that night. He never apologized, although he did complain about severe stomach issues for several days afterwards. TLDR. Bought a fish for a friend and another friend swallowed it alive at a party to impress, flirt with someone. Yeah, because us girls love watching when a guy swallows. Golden. Fins. Flapping. Oh dear god. Friend brought a guest to a party I was having. Friend knew I didn't really like her guest and I asked her not to bring her. She did anyway. Unwelcome guest proceeds to drink too much wine and smoke too much weed, then pass out on the couch really early. For some reason, my friend leaves without taking the unwelcome guest with her. Wake up the next morning, unwelcome guest has opened up one of the leftover bottles of wine from the night before and she's also carved a pipe out of a potato or carrot or something and was smoking weed on our couch. B. Please. If someone lets you pass out at their party and doesn't kick your butt out by stuffing you in a taxi, at least go outside the dang house to smoke. Had a drunk partygoer attempt to do pull-ups from the planks of my old ranch-style ceiling just beneath the heater vent and ended up pulling down a large portion of my ceiling. Refused to pay for it. Please tell me you called cops. When I was in Cub Scouts, in 3rd grade nonetheless, my mom hosted a beating for the scouts in my grade at school where we built birdhouses for some badge or something. While we were waiting for everyone to arrive, me and the scouts who had already arrived started playing in my backyard. One scout, let's call him N, told us he had to go to the bathroom really bad and left. When everyone arrives to start the project, I noticed that N was sitting at the edge of the table looking down and my mom was really angry and was trying her best to suppress it. She asked me and all the other scouts if I had given N permission to go in my room. Me and all my friends said no. He said he had to go to the bathroom really bad. This response only made my mom even more visibly angry and N ducked his head more. 5 minutes later N's mom arrives and is apologizing profusely to my mom. Turns out N went into my room, pocketed the $20 I had been saving up. I got paid $2 a week for mowing the lawn as an allowance, and was stuffing my toys and video games into his backpack. My mom went upstairs to actually use the bathroom and noticed the theft taking place and caught him red-handed. He then lied to my mom and said I gave him permission to go into my room and he was just checking it out. But no, my mom caught him red-handed, and my mom is scary when she's mad. In total he stole around $150 in Game Boy cartridges, Pokemon cards and toys and around 3 months of allowance. At least he didn't crap in the kitchen, which is where I thought that was going. When I was in like 2nd grade, I invited this girl over and we made popcorn as a snack and not even 5 minutes later, this T decided it's a good idea to run all over my house throwing it everywhere. This goes on another 5 minutes while I chase her down. But the damage is done. The popcorn is in between couch cushions, under the fridge, under my bed, in my laundry basket, all over the dang floor. My mom ends up sitting us down and proceeds to lay it out on her, telling her that what she did was disrespectful and to help clean up. She pouted and said no, saying since it wasn't her house she didn't have to clean crap. She continued to pout as my mom called her mom and pretty much told her to leave and to not expect to be invited back anytime soon. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but apparently she got banned from the mall for trashing a Lush store with her friend, throwing food, dumping out products, and smashing bath bombs, so I guess she hasn't changed much. As bad as the popcorn was, just be thankful it wasn't glitter. I rented a room to someone I knew since I was 12. He was using and selling H from my house. I found out and told him to GTFO. He was too lazy to use the bathroom and pee in bottles. I didn't know. Threw the pee all over the room before he left. Carved swastikas in my kid's bunk bed I was letting him use. My grandmother took in a family off the street who lived in their car. She lived alone, and no one was happy about it. But grandma does what grandma wants. She goes upstairs to clean their bathroom, finds their M-Lab. Calls my uncle to ask if she should call the police, because she doesn't want to put the family into more trouble. Yeah, she called. Buddy from college was traveling through town and stayed with my wife and I for the weekend. Nothing crazy. Hung out and remembered our college years. A few days after he left, my guest bathroom reeked. Took a bit to figure out but finally discovered an upper decker left for us. Disgusting. She invited a bunch of sleazy guys over. Despite me asking her not to, she let them in while I was in the shower, so I did not realize they were in my house. She then took one into my housemate's bedroom and locked the door. Super disrespectful to my housemate who had so kindly offered that she could stay in her room as she was going to be at her boyfriend's for the weekend. When I got out of the shower, one of the guys was in my bed, and I was like, dude, get the frick out of my bedroom. And he refused and said my friend said he could stay there. I was very not okay with that. I physically had to push him out of my house. The next day when she sobered up, I kicked her out of my house and did not speak to her for 3 years. In what universe could someone think my friend said I could be here trumps this is my bedroom? Get out. It was after an awful spinal surgery I went through when I was 12. They were cousins and my parents caught them trying to steal my painkillers. Constantly unplugging electronics. First it was the thermostat, she didn't like the sound the water heater made. Then the Wi-Fi, the CIA was snooping on her. And finally my fridge, she was saving the environment. If anyone unplugged my fridge I would gently guide them to the door, nudge them out and never talk to them again. Not my home, but I was renting a house and the landlady kept turning up unannounced and would let herself in, and would give the key to people doing work on the house without telling us, so we'd, without warning, have strangers let themselves into the house. It was a very stressful way to live. Very stressful, and if you live in the States, also very illegal. One night the girls who lived in the apartment across the hall brought a friend with them to hang with us. As soon as she walked in she screamed, "This will be hilarious." College guys always get the crappy, hand-me-down dishes from their parents. She walked into the kitchen and began pulling out pans and dishes and howling about how old and ratty they were. Our friends were mortified. When they tried to talk to her she talked louder. After 30 seconds of this lunacy my roommate and I told her to leave. She threw a giant fit and called us buttholes. You can pry my crappy, hand-me-down pots and pans from my cold dead hands. I grew up with those. Dude crapped his pants while sitting on my couch playing a video game and just sat there finishing the match. We were having an old-fashioned LAN party and the entire room cleared out. Sounds like a solid strategy. I made an account just to share this story. We had friends over for my girlfriend's birthday and to celebrate moving into a new apartment together for the first time. A guy we knew from college kept stealing people's drinks throughout the night and got incoherently drunk. He lived a couple hours away but got too drunk to go home, so we let him stay despite already having a friend from out of town who planned to stay with us. In the middle of the night, the drunkard stripped down, forced the other guest off the only air mattress and pooped himself massively. He then tracked poopy footprints all over the apartment, smacked poopy handprints on all the doorknobs, including in the bedroom where we were sleeping, covered all our towels and blankets in his butt sauce, and peed in some places. Oh, but it's not like he didn't make it to the bathroom. He left a second, possibly third crap in the toilet. No flush, no apology, just left at like 6 AM, without his poopy underpants. Those he left on the ruined air mattress in a steaming heap. Needless to say, the surprise breakfast waffles for my girlfriend were not as enjoyable. Not house but apartment in college. Roommate invited a bunch of people over one night. We each had our own bathroom, clearly marked. I go to get something from my room and hear obvious fricking in my bathroom. I knock on the door and say wrong one, get the frick out. After they came out I saw that they had cleaned themselves up on my nice white towels. Apparently she was on her period. Dude, we threw a party in college and this happened to me. Some people were fricking and I didn't know, and at the end of the night I passed out on top of my covers. Wake up in the morning and lift my comforter. Period blood. Disgusting. Flash forward an hour. The dude shows up and pays me $40 for new sheets and blankets. Mine ended well. I posted a shortened version of this story, but here goes. My ex-husband and I had a couple that we were friends with. I grew up in the same neighborhood with the husband and worked at a bar with the wife. They had met and gotten married in Vegas 3 weeks later. So naturally there was a lot of buzz about their relationship and her intentions. The guy was super sweet and she was, well, skanky. We had them over for dinner and karaoke and the night was fun. She kept taking selfies on our disposable camera with my husband and wanting to sing duets with him. But whatever. Her husband and I finally tapped out around 2 AM and they stayed up. I woke up the next morning and there was tequila rose all over my bar room. Clothes everywhere, half-butted cigarettes, lip prints on my big mirror. She had fricked my husband while her husband and I were sleeping. The end. My mom made a huge dinner for my aunt and cousins. They showed up 2 hours late. Told my mom, oh sorry the boys can't eat that much right now, and just went in our fridge and made them sandwiches instead. We invited a group of people over for lunch. One of them arrived, put a bunch of food on a plate in a plastic container, and left to bring it to eat with her boyfriend. I was a kid, my mom had a friend and her son over. They were over for a couple hours and just as they were leaving I noticed all of my video games were gone. I told my mom. She goes grabs his backpack and of course they were all in his bag. His mother immediately came to his defense, saying he's got a lot of games and must have thought they were his. It didn't even make sense and she acted as if nothing had happened. Anyway, terrible mother. Kid had no chance. He is now in jail for life, no parole for shooting and killing a cop during a sea bust. Well, that escalated quickly. Changed my bathroom mirror because they didn't like the one I had. It was my mill who came to visit my then boyfriend and I. We were in a rental that had a weird little bathroom that the rest of the house made up for. But I got up in the morning and went to the gym and grabbed some food to make dinner. When I got home, I went to shower and she has taken down the bathroom mirror, which came with the rental, and put up a new one that was really ugly and too small. I wrapped myself in a towel and switched it back. She asked me why I did that and I told her it wasn't my mirror and give her the other one back. Maybe she wanted to take yours. Friend must have seen me once put in the code for my spare key lockbox, and I came home to her in my freaking house. Mind you, we're not close. Her excuse? She had to go to the toilet. Safe to say, I reset that crap and didn't invite her over anymore. Weirded me out. Locked me out of my own bedroom. Proceeded to destroy my stuff. Then had the nerve to yell at me for saying she can't go back in my room. When we would host family dinners with certain cousins, we would have to lock every room of the house besides the ones meant for party use, because otherwise they would go into rooms and look through drawers randomly. Pretty minor, but definitely a pet peeve. Nah mate, might be minor compared to the other thing in this thread, but that's a big violation of trust. Something I learned is, you can't choose family, but you can choose which part of the family you want to see. An old roommate pee in my cat's litter pen because I deserved to clean up his pee. He was mad I wouldn't pay his rent for the 3rd month. Dickbag. Tried to discipline my very old, very sick dog for jumping up on the couch after they had given the jump up on the couch signal to him. I had trained him to come by patting 3x on whatever surface he was invited to, and this person kept doing the pat 3x then yelling at the poor confused puppy for coming. They were trying to summon the cat and it went as well as expected. Years ago, my then boyfriend, now ex, came over to my house unexpected the day of my mom's birthday. My siblings and I were busy decorating. He made himself comfortable on the couch and played on the Xbox. He was out of the way so I ignored him. Just before she gets home I make him turn off the console. Mom gets home and we do the whole surprise bit. X immediately, like, my mom hadn't even gotten past the entryway, grabbed the controller, turned the Xbox on, slapped my butt and told me to get him a drink as he sat back down on the couch. I snatched the controller out of his hands and told him to go home. And then you dumped him. For some reason a friend of my brother's thought it was funny to lift up one side of our cat's litter box and shake it when she was trying to crap. Sounds like a good opportunity to bust in on him while he's peeing and shake the crap out at him while laughing like a maniac. My husband's friend and her boyfriend arrived from overseas. We hadn't met him previously. On day 1 the boyfriend googled by weed city name, got scammed into sending a lot of cash to Nigeria via Western Union to pay for it, then gave them our address for delivery. No weed ever turned up, but the police did. On day 2 he wanked in the shower and his load got caught by the hair catcher in the drain, which I discovered when I cleaned the shower. Nearly vomited. On day 3 the pair of them had a massive raging argument at our dinner table while the 4 of us were sitting down to eat. They were yelling insults at each other and trying to get us to join in and take a side. It went on like this for about a week until my husband told them to leave. They tried to come back a few days later because they discovered that our country is expensive and they'd prefer free accommodation with us. We declined. I'm shocked you allowed them to stay past day 1. My sister's old boyfriend from high school watched bestiality P on our family computer and ended up making it unusable because of the amount of viruses it gave the computer. Lots of pictures and videos went missing and my dad's childhood friends are bitchery too. Not just any P, specifically bestiality P is the part that makes this story so good. I was hit by a car when bicycling to work one day. I ruptured a kidney, broke my jaw and 6 teeth, and was in general pretty banged up. My boyfriend at the time was overwhelmed by it and he called my family for support, without me knowing. Otherwise I would have told him not to. I hadn't spoken to them in about 5 years at this point. They drove 10 hours to our apartment. My BF and I had arranged a suite of rooms at the beautiful hotel literally around the corner from us, but they said it would be better if the 5 of them slept in our 1-bedroom apartment with us. Fine. I'm pretty out of it from medication, etc. They had never been to my city before so they insisted I show them around. I got them behind the scenes passes to tour Pixar Studios and tried to show them around as much as possible despite the fact I could barely move or walk from the pain in my kidney. After a few days I told them I couldn't keep going places with them. They said I was ruining their vacation. I responded that I didn't know it was a vacation. I thought they came to visit me because they were concerned about my near-death accident. My mother laughed at that. I told them all to get the frick out of my apartment. On the way out my sister stole all my pain meds. I didn't realize it until several hours later when they were long gone and I couldn't find them to take my next dose. I had to go back to the ER and the staff didn't want to give me more meds because they thought I was doing something illegal. I had to recover from serious injuries without help. A now ex-girlfriend came into my parents' home for only the 2nd time and said to my mother, "Wow, it's tidy in here for a change." Haha, I could see in my mother's eyes the thought process of how to slap her to the next century without making a scene. Thankfully she laughed it off, but that was a big red flag for me and my ex. Your mother fricked up. It was a perfect opportunity to discover time travel and she totally skipped it. Sad day for science. Kicked my cat, smoked my weed without permission, pee on the toilet seat, then stole some games when they left, all in one 40-minute visit. A friend from college days stayed in our house while he was looking for a job in the area. The only house rule was, do not let the cat out. He's strictly an indoor cat and never goes outdoors. We came home one day and found the slider and screen open. Our beloved cat was gone. When he saw how upset and distraught we were, his response was, "It's only a cat, no big deal." As I've noted here some time ago, we put this guest out right away, and it wasn't until many days later that our cat returned home. Thin, but safe. I had a similar situation except the roommate was my estranged father we let stay with us to help him get back on his feet. The cat never returned though. I kicked out my own father. Context: I'm 16, not able to move out yet, obviously, and live at home with my grandma. Have done for years. My father is absentee, and my mother has mental issues, hence why I don't live with either of my parents. My mother comes over at least every second day just to eat our food and use our Wi-Fi, electricity and TV. She will randomly come over unannounced and just sit on her phone for hours then leave without a word, eating half our fridge in between. She has had the audacity to command television rights and be about what I wanted to watch when I'd gotten home from school. She has bitched about the food in our fridge and pantry, fully knowing that it is a lower income household. I prepared a Disney themed surprise party for a good friend of mine in my apartment. Every corner had a different Disney theme. I made almost all the decorations by hand and the result was truly amazing. I spent around 3 days decorating my whole apartment and preparing her favorite foods. It wasn't supposed to be a party with a lot of people, but I invited our close friends and asked them to come without having dinner first. Some vegetarian friends who were coming mentioned that they were bringing a friend of theirs who was vegan, so I made a big buffet including the birthday girl's favorite foods, a few vegan dishes, a big pitcher of fresh mocktail to share, everyone's favorite snacks including a few vegan snacks on the side. Think the big picture, a baked brie, nice homemade hummus, cut up fresh veggies, vegan dips made with veganese, vegan macaroni salad, nachos, French bread, hot spinach dip, bacon poppers, a spinach Asian salad, a huge pecan cake frozen themed, vegan marshmallows dipped in vegan chocolate, popcorn caramel cake pops. That didn't even include the snacks I bought since these were all homemade. Anyway, my friends get to my place and they are late, but it's not a big deal. The birthday girl is truly surprised. It looks magical and the food looks amazing. I invite people to start digging in right away, and no one grabs a plate except me and my boyfriend. Turns out they went out to dinner right before coming here when I specifically asked them not to. I mentioned that I made a lot of vegan dishes since I knew their vegan friend that I never even met was coming. Yet she doesn't thank me or attempt to eat anything. She says nah, I'm good, I ate before coming here. The birthday girl eventually gets some stuff, but mostly the snacks I bought. I tried to camouflage my tears by inciting people to play games. We played for an hour and a half until my friend said she was tired and wanted to go home. Other people just followed behind her. 3 days of decorating and cooking. Around $100 worth of food and snacks. All of this for maximum 2 hours. When they left I cried so hard and my boyfriend was livid. He couldn't believe how ungrateful my friends were. I used to be very generous to my friends, but ever since that happened, I've stopped making parties, dinners and gifts. It really broke my heart and my view on our friendships has never been the same since then. I am so sorry. I would love to have a friend do something so nice for me. The food sounds amazing. You did an amazing job for someone who didn't appreciate it. We have all been there. Much love to you. P.S. I wish you were my friend. Walked in, pounded half a dozen Jack and Cokes and then proceeded to throw up on 4 walls of my bathroom. How did you get it on the ceiling, Kevin? He's a Kevin, that's how. Had a roommate bring people back to have a house party. Me and the other housemate were just chilling in the living room. A guy immediately steals beers I've had in the fridge and does a line of C on my mantelpiece. Update: no, I was not offered a line. Was living in a bachelor pad with a friend. We were in the process of tiling the floor, so it was mostly just concrete slab. Roommate had a mutual friend over and brought their idiot country butt cousin. Guy proceeds to spit chewing tobacco all over our floor before my roommate catches him doing it and confronts him. Dumb hillbilly response is it's cement, what's it gonna hurt? Genuinely didn't think he'd done anything wrong. Still pisses me off years later. A friend's wife, whom I used to be close with as well, walked into our house and immediately said it's not very neat in here while looking around. The same night, when my wife got home from work, she said to my wife, I'm starting to think that's the only shirt you own. Not that egregious on the surface, but my wife and I had just had our twins a few months prior and it was the first time seeing our adult friends, so we were still in some controlled chaos. I had a massive pee up for my 18th. Close to 100 people, so I knew something would go wrong. Turns out the worst thing that went wrong was that someone was somehow able to crap in our oven. Oh man. Some of my friends threw an absolute rager in college. Huge party. They turned their basement into a dance room. Black light, disco balls, strobe lights, the works. Anyway, they found out the next morning someone took a huge crap on their basement floor and some other poor sucker stepped in it and tracked it all over the place. I had friends over in middle school to order food and hang out. I ordered a soda with my meal. My friend didn't, and upon delivery she realized the only available soda was the one I had ordered for myself. She said she always drinks soda with her food and cannot not drink soda with dinner, and instead of going to a deli to get her own or just sucking it up, she took my ginger ale. It's not my fault she didn't think to order her own freaking soda. I haven't forgotten. Debbie. A couch surfer told me to kill myself because I'm uglier than my sister. She also lied and told me she already drank my iced tea, when she didn't. She just didn't want me to have it. 0/10 worst couch surfer ever. Alcohol makes people mean sometimes. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.